it on Facebook and on.
Okay, we are live.
Yeah.
Troy.
So we're going to be putting on canvas? 6. Okay. Thank you. Call the Proctor City Council meeting to order Monday, May 1st, 2023 at 6, a little after 6 p.m. If you could stand and state the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, Administrator Rich, could you do roll call?
Good. Councillor Johnson.
Present.
Councillor Roweeder.
Present.
Councillor Benson.
Present.
Acting Mayor DeWall.
Present.
Mayor Ward, absent.
Noting others present, assuming we have Attorney Gray on the phone, Mr. Dick Curry and Chief Gatus. Entertain approval of the minutes dating Monday, April 17th, 2023.
So moved.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. At this point, we will go with comments and suggestions from citizens present. The public comment and suggestion period of this meeting is when the City Council offers a time for everyone in attendance or watching from home to address City Council. Once we move on from the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, members of the public will no longer be allowed to address the council unless the mayor acknowledges you. As a general rule, the council will listen to all comments but will not comment on or respond to any comments made by speakers. The council will not engage in dialogue, however, any council member can ask questions. If you would like to address the City Council during the public comment and suggestion period of the meeting, please come forward to the podium or call 218-628-6289. Before you begin, please state your name and address for the minutes. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the City Council will be prohibited from using obscene, profane, or threatening language or boisterous conduct that disrupts the meeting or the security of the public. Is there anyone at this time that is interested in participating in the public comment and suggestion period of this meeting? Give it a minute here for those who want to phone in. Once again, that number was 218-628-6289. Okay, having heard nothing, we will move on to the approval of the consent agenda.
So move.
We have a motion by Councillor Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Reuter. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could we pull the tourism minutes, I believe.
3A?
Nope, let's see, event recommendations. Nope, I was looking at 6B. Let's forget about that.
Okay.
Thank you, sorry.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? What?
No.
Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Am I missing something?
Nope. Down to clerk advises council. Oh,
Nope, I
approval
think-
of
We're missing
agenda.
an agenda because we have to.
Oh.
So at this point, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. And I'd like to add 6I, liquor license recommended. Is there anything else?
Ms. Merrick, what about discussion on the legislative effort to have cannabis, legalize cannabis?
That'll be J,
Yes, sir.
6J. Megan, did we get a motion yet? So entertain a motion with those changes, adding 6I, 6J.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Reuter, seconded by Councilor Benson. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That'll bring us to 4A, Clerk advises council.
Thank you, Mayor. You have in your packet Finance Director Brunfeld's first quarter financial report. Did you have any questions on that or comments?
Ms. Mayor, I certainly want to thank her for the time and effort that she puts into the report. It's certainly helpful, insightful, and I think it continues to be of great value.
Make sure she gets that message.
And I'd like to move that we accept the quarterly financial update.
Second.
Hearing no further discussion on the financials, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to accept financial first quarter report. 4B,
Thank you, Mayor. This notification was sent across to Minnesota cities about a Monsanto's class action lawsuit. I apologize, I thought it was in the packet, but the city of Proctor is, I think, received $17,000 for the Monsanto settlement. And we'll probably earmark that off separately if we decide to do a special project or if there's something that comes up that the city wants to spend that money on. Obviously, our creek is an obvious, comes to mind initially.
Do you need a motion for that? Okay.
there was one document in there from the League of Minnesota Cities, kind of talking about it. All right, that'll bring us to 6A, tourism funding. Looks like we have 3 recommendations. I don't know if we want to do these separately or together. is, one, I'd like to have a discussion on it.
I would too.
So, can we have the discussion before we even make a motion, or do we have to make a motion?
I think you could do it either way. But that's just me.
Attorney Bray? Well, before you, you have the three recommendations, looks like for approval for Lions Club Hoghead Festival, the Halver Line Speedway, and Dirt Floor Arena for marketing and promotions, et cetera, et cetera. I guess my first question is a meeting or two ago, we had the Hoghead Legion come before us, and they were a little short, so I guess I was kind of, I don't sit on tourism, but I guess I was questioning why we did not give them the max. I'm assuming the max is 3. So that was one question when they were kind of pleading a case that they're short. I'll open it up to whoever. Councilor Benson?
I have nothing. I unfortunately could not attend that meeting, so I did have a brief conversation with Ms. Hedke, but that was on the next item.
Okay. Councilor Johnson, you had,
Well, yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying is, and then I thought we had a max of 1,500. Or am I mistaken there?
I'd have to look that up. I don't know.
it seems like we've heard that before. Mr. Kari, if you could just state your name real quick.
Kari, good for the Lions Club. I see this on the agenda here, but I'm sure that Sally told us from the Lions Club that we could only apply for 50. We could ask for 2, but the maximum was $1,500. I was kind of surprised when I seen this 2,500 and 3,000. So that's why we applied for 1,500, because we told it that's all we could get.
Okay, so that's the reason why 1,500 was approved, because that was what he requested, not knowing there could be a higher request.
And I see they just had a meeting a week ago, correct?
Yes?
But we don't have the minutes
No.
of that yet.
No, that's why it was hard to figure out. I was hoping Councilor Benson could fill in some of the gaps, but understand he's got due diligence on capital too.
Is the right thing to do right now is to table this?
I'm okay tabling it until I get some further information, like minutes. Administrator Rich, do you have a recommendation on?
If you have questions about the funding levels, I would recommend that you table it, and then we can ask the tourism director to clarify. You know, they probably have documented reasons, so we should address those to her.
And you know, look at what Hoghead does for us. I mean, to me, they should be up to $3,000 if that's,
Well, what I don't understand is what we donate for Grandma's Marathon even. Isn't that like 10,000?
It's more than that.
You know, and here in our own city, you know, granted, I understand the hotels do receive benefits from people staying overnight, this and that, but I mean, this is the heart and soul of our city is a Proctor Hoghead. And so there was no motion made, so we don't have to undo a motion or a second. So do we officially need to make a motion to table it? So,
I'll make that motion to table this 6A.
I'll second it.
okay, motion by Councilor Johnson, seconded by Councilor Royer to table 6A for next meeting with further information.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
You know, and before we go to a vote, and this is just something to think about and mull, until we have further explanation, the next item is for Halverline Speedway, about $2,500. And one of the things is that the city really spends about twice that amount on the Speedway. And one of the things about the tourism is to ensure that tourism is named as a sponsor. And one of the things that is not happening at the Speedway is tourism is not being named. And, you know, we contribute at least half of what Halverlines do. So I know that was part of the discussion at the meeting, and, you know, I wasn't there for all of it, but I guess it was a lively discussion. So keep that in the back of your minds on funding levels and what tourism expects of people who, you know, are awarded these grants, and whether they're complying or not.
And Jake, I'm just going to go a little bit further. I thought it wasn't the Halverline Speedway anymore. And maybe I'm wrong. And Administrator Rich, I'm just going to, do you go to tourism meetings?
I don't.
Okay.
I mean, even on their website, if I might, they don't even have the Speedway listed as being in Proctor.
And we now have a Duluth hotel in Proctor.
Yeah.
I just, it would be nice to have the minutes, even, I know we've been through this as a council. I would rather see something, even if it's not approved, there's a word for that, it would be unofficial minutes. Because I know sometimes they wait to approve the minutes till the next meeting, et cetera. But that may have helped answer some of my questions, because I get to kind of understand the dialogue that was going on in the meeting. So I would always entertain, even though it states unofficial, and I know it can be changed, it does give me a little bit of insight. And then we do have a motion to table this for next meeting and a second. Is there any further discussion on that?
Is it out of line for us as a city council to request that Sally come to our next meeting?
No,
Or
it's not out of line at all.
Is there a city councilor that's on, but you weren't there? So there's only one city councilor on that committee?
I believe so.
Okay. Dick, are you on that committee?
And it was the first one I missed in decades.
Lori, going back to that, I was told yesterday, that Overline renewed their contract because of something that happened at the monster truck. They got Overline last week. Renewed the contract.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, did you say they did not?
They did not.
Okay, thank you.
By delaying this or tabling this till the next meeting, does this put any burden on those? I mean, obviously Hoghead Festival isn't coming up, but like the Speedway, or does that put any?
I wouldn't think a 2-week delay would mean much for.
All right. Any further discussion on this?
Do we need to get a look as a council on where them tourism dollars are going?
She gives an annual report.
Yeah, there's an annual report, and then I know we see kind of what's been budgeted, which we approve for the year. And then the one thing that council did do was, and I don't know if it was a year or two ago, but any money being gifted or awarded has to run through council. Is that correct? So we kind of see it as they come up.
And can we go online and look at them, you know, the budget thing for what they're giving out?
I don't believe it's online.
I don't think it would be online. That would be,
You had, yeah, I'm pulling up the 2022 tourism report that she submitted. I can certainly email that to you again.
And not that we have to talk about it now, but
I guess what I would say at this point is, I know I have specific questions. If anyone has specific questions, please email and forward them to Administrator Rich so that she can do some of the groundwork and get some of those answers for us. And then we will put it back on the agenda for next meeting. All those in favor of tabling it until next meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That'll bring us to 6B, which is 2023 event recommendations.
This must be added to that.
Okay. 6B, 2023 event recommendations from public safety. That should be before you. Looks like there would be, after 19, number 20, which would be the, adding the Hilla 5K, which has traditionally been done over the years. I'm assuming at this point, all of which have run through public safety.
They did meet prior to this meeting and made recommendations to approve them.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I might before the vote, one of the items that is not on the event recommendations is their Memorial Day observance, which is coming up at the end of the month. Traditionally, if it rains, it's in this room. We use the chairs and, of course, the facilities. And the application did not get in just because I was busy. So I turned to the police chief to see if there's been a problem in the past, and perhaps you could,
There has not been a problem in the past, and I think actually the police department and you and I have worked very well to sit there and try to get the event going. And usually our officers help with that too, so it works in both ways.
thank you. So I was hoping that could be added to the recommendations.
Does council have a problem with adding 21? I do not. Okay. And I think we can, with the understanding, we can approve this as entire list for the year. Is there any further discussion? Are we missing anything?
Just a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 event recommendations coming from public safety with the addition of 20, adding the Hilla 5K, and adding 21, the Memorial Day observance.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councilor Reuter. Any further discussion on the list before you? Hearing none, signify by aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Tongue twister.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. That brings us to 6C, Sand Salt Garage Construction Contract, Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. You have in front of you a notice of award from SEH to Ray Rialoma for the construction of the Public Works Sand Salt Garage. This contract is of the nature where it needs to be approved by council. And we do need PUC approval on it as well, I believe. So your motion could you know, include upon PUC approval as well.
So you're saying to make a motion to approve the salt and sand with the contractor's name, or no?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll make that motion that we approve the salt and sand garage to Ray Raiola. Is that how you say it?
Ray Luma?
Luma.
Okay.
Motion by Counselor Johnson for approval, obviously with the contingency of public.
And I will second that with the addition, if it's all right with the motion.
Yeah.
To include the PUC approval as well.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That brings us to 6D, Finance Director Training Request. Administrator Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. I recommend that Finance Director Brunfeld be reimbursed to go to this training. And I further recommend that, obviously, I don't think it's the council's intention to send her to a seminar and not pay her wages for the week. So that we would, the spending, she did get a grant for it, but it is over the $1,000 limit that's in her contract. But upon recommendation from me and approval by you, you can allow her to go to training that costs more money than that. She did put a very nice summary of her training over the last 3 years.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Motion by Counselor Johnson, seconded by Counselor Benson to approve. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Ms. Mayor, I do have one question. When is it? This month, next month, fall, summer?
Late May,
Pardon me?
late in May.
Okay, thank you.
Just before she gets into the next year's budget.
Yeah.
That'll bring us to 6E. Before you, we have LELS Sergeant, TA, and non-affiliated employee contracts. We are going to split these up just a bit. And we'll start with the LELS Sergeant. And to get the ball rolling, I will make a motion to approve,
I'll second that.
seconded by Counselor Reuter. Further discussion? Nothing? Okay. All those in favor for the approval of the LALS Sergeant contract signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That'll bring us to the non-affiliated employee contracts. And we'll kind of break them up a little bit to, I don't know, what do you think?
I think if they were presented to you as all three, unless you did have, there was, even if you made a motion to approve the tentative agreement with all three, in your discussion, you could still pull out some discussion if there was on one particular contract.
I'll make that motion that we approve all three.
Motion by Counselor Johnson to approve all three non-affiliated employee contracts. Is there a second on the floor?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Reuter. Any discussion as it pertains to either one of the three? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries for the approval of all 3 non-affiliated employee contracts. That'll bring us to 6F, 2023 firework contract. You have a memo from Administrator Rich before you. Maybe Administrator Rich, do you want to add anything?
I can. You are seeing a slight increase in this contract. I think that Mr. Service charged a flat fee for a very long time with no increase. And I think the value of his show and the professionalism and what he provides for the city of Proctor is well worth his proposed amount.
I'm just going to play the devil's advocate for just a sec. Not that I'm not in favor of it, but we traditionally had a $5,000 budget for I don't know how many years since I've been on council. And with COVID, we could not, or was it dry conditions?
It's dry conditions.
Dry conditions.
Was
Dry-
COVID
Yeah.
then dry conditions, wasn't it?
Was it
No, it was
Um,
mostly the
Okay.
fire people wouldn't let us do it.
Yeah, we didn't do it that year. We all agreed to, you know, hey, we want people to come out because it must have been after COVID. You know, it was outside, so we upped the ante on it. We all know with the cost of doing business, things are, you know, go to the grocery store. Things are more expensive, so, but that's kind of what started it, the increase. We thought we'd put a little extra money into it and try to make a bigger, better show. And that's right, that was because of the dry conditions, we had to cancel it. So I just wanted to give a little back information so that the public understands that, you know, it is a great show. I believe the community, citizens enjoy the heck out of it. It's not just for adults, it's for family, kids, pets. So I guess we could entertain a motion to approve, to get discussion going, because we got to figure out how we're going to pay, because we are budgeted and where we, I believe that was a contingency fund
Yeah.
on the council mayor.
So Mr. Service says in his email that he has been charging around $6,000 since 2014. And then we hit the COVID dry year condition and they were canceled. He did add $1,000 into last year's contract, which brought it up to $7,000. And that's where I'm getting the $800-some increase for 2023. He's proposing to do the same show, the same number of shells, and you could take the entire amount out of the, well, because the mayor's not here, right? The mayor's a special fund.
Well, I kind of remember now, we took 5 out of that and then we grabbed it from somewhere else. I don't remember. Councilor Reuter, do you remember? I don't know if it came from tourism.
Well, we used to get $1,000 from, who did we get?
Chamber.
of Commerce used to
Yes.
give us $1,000.
And Sally has us in her email too. So when it was $6,000, we did the 5 and Chamber did the 1,000.
I'd make a motion though that we approve the contract. I think that for years he's been giving us a fantastic show for a pretty cheap price, and I think the people in the community have kind of come to expect to get that kind of show here now, and I think it's well worth it even with an $800 increase. I mean, you can certainly understand where the increase comes from when you
Yeah.
try to buy anything, but I'd like to see us do it again.
So we have a motion by Councilor Reuter, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion? I guess it would be, we're going to maximize what we have in that fund, and then should we,
Sally suggests that we reach out to the chamber to see if they're willing or can contribute anything.
What chamber?
I know.
He's the only officer left.
well, I think we could approve it, and maybe just have a conversation with Finance Director Leslie. That way Sally can reach out to the chamber to see what kind of dollars are gonna come. And then I can think of 2 areas where we could pull from.
Can we, you know, the money that we get from gambling,
That would be one.
can we use some of that? I mean,
Yes,
it's
sir.
definitely for kids.
Yeah, I believe that's one area, but that would give our Finance Director an opportunity to plug and play where she thinks it'd be best to pull from. So, we have a motion and a second to approve it for the price before you with where we're gonna pull it from to come later. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So we'll just maybe have a sit down with her, bring that back.
I can do that.
That'll bring us to 6G, Declaration of Surplus Equipment Golf Course, Resolution 15-23. You have that before you. For discussion purposes, I'll put a motion down to approve Resolution 15-23. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Benson. So my first question is, I understand we want to get some new ones. We have 6 or so used ones to get rid of. I understand that obviously there's a hot demand for used carts. My question, and this would either be for Attorney Bray or Chief Gaddis, I know how it works with surplus equipment that are mobile. We have to send them to an auction for due equal process. I don't know where this falls with that.
I would sit there and say.
I would,
Go ahead, Attorney Bray.
I would suspect that we can have them auctioned off. Yeah, these are mobile goods.
The resolution does include putting them for sale on auction.
That answers that question. Thank you, Chief Gaddis and Attorney Bray. Does everyone understand what the proposal is as far as the monies, what comes, and what we will own and what we will not own? Yes. Any further discussion on the matter? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of 15-23, Declaration of Surplus Equipment, signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries. That'll bring us to 6H, LRIP Grant Agreement and Resolution 16-23. Administrator Rich.
So now that bids for the Second Street project have been open, this is the point in time when we enter into the grant agreement with the state of Minnesota, and we're entering the grant agreement with the state of Minnesota. The county does need to approve the final bids, but by you approving this tonight, this will advance our application and get the paperwork rolling for the bid contracts to be drafted and prepared. Again, we are receiving $1.25 million from the local road improvement program fund. And this is going to the construction of 2nd Street, and it will be applied to the total construction cost before assessments are figured.
I'll make that motion that we approve this.
Motion by Counselor Johnson for the approval. 16-23, is there a second on the floor? I will second it. Any further discussion?
So it's 16 to, I mean, if I look at the resolution, it says 15-23.
So this would be,
I have two of them to add, and I added the wrong page. So you approved 15-23 for the golf cart, and I think
Okay.
this would be 16-23.
Okay. Did you get a second on that?
Counselor Johnson made the motion, Counselor Reuter seconded it.
Oh, I had you to second
Okay. I
Okay,
seconded
either
it.
way.
it. Oh,
I
okay.
could,
Whichever you choose. Under the impression that this will be 16-23 resolution. Any further
Yes.
discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. That'll bring us to 6I. This was the amendment to the agenda. This will be for liquor license recommendations. VFW Post 137 at 501 3rd Avenue. And I'm assuming this went before liquor control.
yes.
Yep.
So liquor control is making a recommendation for the approval of this liquor license. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion by Counselor Benson,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Reuter. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now bring us to 6J. Counselor Benson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I bring it up, and I understand that Public Safety had a discussion earlier, or just an informal. Okay. And I bring it up because the marijuana legislation to legalize it is going to conference committee. The House has 300 pages, Senate has 300 pages. They're trying to resolve those differences. Likely it will be approved possibly by the time they adjourn, May 22nd. If it does get approved, it'll probably go into law August 1st. For personal use, probably the sale will take another year from what I understand. And I bring it up now because the League of Minnesota Cities is now discussing how to ensure municipal liquor stores that want to sell marijuana, because there has been interest from municipal liquor stores across the state. We have, both with the edibles and, the whole issue is, pretty much taking a hands off. So, before people start opening businesses, I bring it before this body to see if we wanted to take a stand one way or another. One thing for certain is that any place that opens up will be 1,000 feet from any sort of educational facility, daycares, which is very similar to the liquor store, or liquor establishments, bars, liquor stores. And then the one thing the state's going to try to resolve is, one proposal says that cities really can't have any say in requirements and for businesses, marijuana businesses. Another one says that, yes, cities have complete control. They could decide whether they want it or not. So it's just something for perhaps liquor control, public safety, and certainly this body to consider.
I would assume that we would have complete control, just as we have control over our city ordinances. We have to follow at minimum what a state would recommend, but we can always change.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Attorney Bray?
Yes, I would.
So I guess at this point, it would be at council's request, do we take a proactive step and start running it through our committees to look for different types of recommendations? Do we sit and wait? Is that kind of where you're headed, Councilor Benson?
Yes. I mean, and it's difficult now because, you know, if you look at the House proposal which passed and then the Senate proposal which passed, there's some nuances in both of them. One thing for certain is the cities will get like a 25% cut of the state's sales tax. Cities can impose a sales tax as well on the product. We already have that in place. I think it's a judicious discussion to have. Just like any sort of liquor license.
Is there any other committee besides public safety and liquor control that should or could be involved as a fact-finding group, so to speak? Administrator Rich?
I think public safety and liquor control are appropriate.
Okay.
And from what I understand, that there's still some some negotiations for the differences in the two. So I caution spending. It's good to have a discussion and to be thinking about it, but I caution getting too far into it until the final law is drafted.
I mean, it's not like the city has had a rush with people wanting to sell THC products, gummies. So I think we do have some time.
I just think about, there again, I reminisce being on council, but I look at the Airbnb situation. We didn't have anything in place, and then we're caught with people doing it, and then change the rules, they're grandfathered in. It is kind of nice to get in on the front end of things, at least with a set of rules or ordinances that you start out with, and they always get amended. It sounds like public safety had a short discussion, Chief Gatus.
We were basically talking about it after liquor control.
Okay.
But to Administrator's point is that until we know what the law states, you know, then I'd say yes, let's put it on, we're going to be on an eye on it. Until we know what that law really is, it's pretty hard for us to sit there and act on it.
Right.
You know, when it goes to the governor's desk, yeah, then we know it's there. But it's pretty hard with 600 pages to go through. Just filter out what's going to go in that law or not.
So that we do not lose sight or track of it, what is the best course of action so that at least it's on our radar?
If I might, I think one item at least is, does the city want to have control over the sale through its municipal dispensary, a freestanding building where, again, the city has control, or you just say that, okay, we'll license businesses? I mean, I think that's something we could look at in advance. And you could kind of page through each proposal just to see if they have any sort of zoning requirements or prohibitions. We know that they can't be within 1,000 feet of schools, daycares, recreation areas where kids are. So there's small things that can be done or considered.
Administrator Rich?
I don't know, Chief Gatos, part of me says this might be having an additional city councilor on liquor control to just study this one item.
True.
Counselor Benson?
We're discussing it on the state level, so it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
I think we can put some little things together to have something for a meeting to open up those discussions to see where, as a city, as a council, where you want to go with that suggestion.
Yes.
At least have a discussion about it in the committee.
Yeah, having some guidance for what the community wants. Do you want to have control over it? Do you want to restrict it? Are you going to be more entrepreneur open? Like where we do, our community is entrepreneur friendly for a business of this type. Do you want it to be privatized? Do you want government to control it? Those are, higher level discussions that would definitely point us in the right direction with policy wise.
Just a dumb question. Is there any talk at the state level running through like pharmaceutical, prescription drug companies for this sale, or is it, they already are, I would assume.
I am sure pharmaceutical companies would love to get their hands on this. They have other issues now with putting caps on prescription drugs. You have the hemp farmers worried that they're going to see a decrease in their product, which is totally different than cannabis. So there's those concerns. So yeah, you really don't know where it's going to go, or even if it's going to pass this year, and chances could be, that state legislature has the same discussions. Only one vote separates it on the Senate side, even though they passed it. So, governor might not even sign it this year.
Well, maybe for now we'll go with the recommendations of City Administrator Rich, and that is to start with that group with the addition of a counselor. And I thought I heard Counselor Benson saying
Would be my suggestion.
okay with that, Counselor?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know that we need a motion for that.
No, you don't.
We'll just take action. Anything else under that, Counselor Benson? 6J?
No, sir.
Okay. No 7. So I guess that'll bring us to members' concerns. Counselor Benson.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Counselor Johnson.
I have nothing.
Counselor Reuter.
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Attorney Bray, do you have anything under members' concerns?
No, I don't.
Okay. That'll bring us to bills for approval. Before you, looks like we have general at $34,825.23. Liquor at $31,271.68 for a grand total for approval of $66,096.91. Is there a motion to approve paying of the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Reuter to pay the bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Johnson. Any further discussion on bills? Hearing none, all in favor for paying the bills, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, pay the bills. I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 6:56. Is there a second to adjourn?
No, but I do have one other thing.
Okay, make a second, then we'll have a discussion.
Second,
Further discussion?
back under member concerns, I did want to congratulate Mr. Kari on your election.
Duly noted. Congratulations, Mr. Carter.
Congratulations. You're here from Mr. Aird, aren't you? Normally he's...
Any further discussion on the adjournment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.